Welcome, everyone. Hmm. What an amazing group of people. It's wonderful to be here with you all and for Mia to bring us all together like this. I'm happy to have the next 90 minutes or so for all of us to be together. And before we go, there are a few Zoom technicalities that I'll have Megan go over, just so that as we use this blessed technology, we make the best of it.
Hello. We just wanted to make sure everybody knows a few things using Zoom. We do have a chat open, so if you have any comments or anything you want to share, feel free to do so in the chat. When it comes time to open the floor to speakers, we will be asking you to raise your hand. At the bottom of your screen, you should see a button that says reactions. It might be under the more, there's the three little dots that say more. It could be under that tab. If you click on reactions, it'll show you raise your hand. Um, we will be using that to call on people and asking you to unmute yourself that way. And then if you experience any technical issues yourself or have any questions, feel free to message me directly in the chat and I can help with that. And
And just for starters, if you could just write in the chat where you're calling in from, because it's an amazing group from all over the world, and it would be lovely to see where you're all calling in from. I'll be monitoring the chat, and we'll try if it doesn't go too fast, and I'll try to keep up if there's any comment, and I can share it. But just for now, if you could say where you're calling in from.
Okay, so here we are. And again, thank you all for joining us. I also want to thank this technology for supporting our gathering. And if any glitches come up, as they might, we'll deal with them. But for now, here we are. Uh, it is a big group, and we would like to hear from as many of you as possible. We have a list of a few people who will be speaking in the beginning. And as we go into the session, when we open it up, then again, as Megan pointed out, we'll ask you to kind of raise your hand and we'll call on people. What I'm asking you for, because we want to hear from as many people as possible, when you speak, try to limit what you're saying to 2 minutes. Uh, this is not for the invited speakers who are open to share for more, but the people that we'll bring in, try to limit yourself to 2 minutes. Again, to honor that we want people to speak. And if you get swept away in a story, then I'll just ring the bell in 2 minutes to just remind you that the time is up so that we can hear from more people. Um, I think,
Leon, can
yes.
you just go to the chat and just read a few of the places from around the world? I see Brazil, Singapore, Oakland.
Oh, yeah. South Korea, of course, Boston, Gig Harbor, Washington, Seattle, Tokyo, Boston, Seoul, Oregon, Sonoma County, Osaka, Los Angeles, Hong Kong. And this is Mia in a nutshell. So it's just wonderful to see all these different threads and the mycelium network that Mia wove in her travels and teachings. Truly a global network. It's wonderful to see that. So to start, what I'd like to do is just go through a little to put us in the Mia space. I'd like to share a little slideshow that I put together that just kind of runs through different aspects of Mia. So, okay, Mia, a life of adventure for sure. Born in Jerusalem in 1930. Those were old times. That was actually Palestine in 1930. So Mia has a Palestinian birth certificate. And when she was 18, Palestine became Israel. This is with her mother in Jerusalem. She loved her parents, as you all know. She spoke about them a lot with a lot of admiration. Growing up, 2 years old, then at 4, I think already, or 5, they moved to Tel Aviv, where she grew up. She used to talk a lot about roller skating in the streets of Tel Aviv. Teenager, those times in Israel, she used to go up to the north a lot and work in the fields near Kinneret, which is the lake.
Sorry, can I just add about the Tel Aviv thing, that she used to tell us stories of walking from her house through the sand dunes to the beach, and there was a bear there that used to perform tricks. Do you remember that story? It was just like there was nothing there.
Yeah, early days for sure. And like everybody else, she was in the army. And just, sounds like she had a lot of fun in Tel Aviv in those years. For those of you who know the history of Israel, all the Israelis back there, that picture on the right in the background is Altalena, this ship that sank in front of the shores of Tel Aviv. And she was really ready for adventure, and then traveled to South Africa to visit her uncle and aunt, which is where she met Morris. And
whose children and grandchildren are here in the room, by the way. That uncle.
Yes, yeah. And cousins and second cousins and many more. They lived in London for a while. That's where Morris was in hospital there for some injury he suffered in the Air Force. And to help him with his asthma, Mia in London studied the
Alexander technique.
The Alexander technique. And that's how, when she went back to Israel, she met up with Moshe. But she loved her time when they lived in London. Then back to Israel and started building a family. That's again Leora and Mia's parents. And then I was born at some point. That's us in our house in Israel. The picture on the right, you'll see us sitting in this pose. It was this Indian guru who used to come and teach us meditation. And we were sitting here and feigning meditation, I'd say. This is with the family, with the parents, some trip somewhere in Israel, I'm assuming. And all this while, Mia's hands, she was called to do this work. She actually started working with Moshe right after she gave birth to me. And the story is she used to drive back home at noon to nurse me and then go back work with Moshe. And those were really the early days of developing the concept. Moshe was working alone, and after Mia came back to Israel, she started working with him, and they worked, of course, many years together. Also started going around and sharing and teaching the method. And overall, there was a bond there of two souls who were really on fire to do this kind of work. And I'll go into more details, at least on my experience of this work. There's another the
I think
workshops.
excuse me, just I think
Go ahead.
our big brother is here, David, and he also has stories about that because he was quite a bit older than me, so he remembers a lot of stuff from when we were so small and we can't remember about how they worked together. Okay.
So the work started in Europe and then in the United States. Again, we'll go into that a bit later. And Mia loved traveling, and Moshe was a judo man, so Mia wanted to study judo, and Morris wanted to study architecture. And 3 years in Japan, which were really magical. And Mia always, I think in some incarnation, she was Japanese. She just loved being in Japan. We really explored the culture. Mia was, and she had this ability to take us and have us do stuff. She studied Kyogen theater. She ended up taking the family to do it. Liora and I were the youngest non-Japanese to act in Kyogen theater. That was a real adventure. Moshe came to visit in Japan, and they did a lot of work together there, both collaborating with local people. Again, just such an amazing adventure. And then back to Israel, and Mia just continuing her work incessantly wherever she could. Really make the one on the left there, the picture, I love it, because that person couldn't walk when they came into the room, and they were up there with Mia. So she really miracle worker in that sense. And always that amazing focus and presence, which was so unique to her. As everybody knows, wherever Mia went, she had a skeleton with her, and always ready to pull it out and play with it and demonstrate with it. And always curious, even to, these are pictures from literally the last couple of years. She always was curious. It's like, would stop someone, why are you holding your coffee like that? Or, why are you holding your jaw like that? And Mia couldn't stop. Mia couldn't stop. And in fact, at some point she said to me, she said, when I stop working, I want to die. And that was so beautiful. And she had this very clear gaze that was very captivating. Huh? So this is some family. That's with young Liora. And obviously there was so much more that they did together over the years. That's me as a baby. And that's me just a bit older than that. Liora and David, our dear David, who passed away all too early. That was their wedding. And then from that, Talia, one grandchild, eldest grandchild, Mia's eldest grandchild, and Michael. So those are Liora and David's children. And of course, the other grandchild, the grandchild-in-law who was like a grandchild, Will, grandchild Neder, and grandchild Lev. Those are the children of Anna and mine. And then after Talia and Will got married, Mia got two amazing gifts. She got a great-grandchild, Oliver, and great-grandchild, Georgie. So she was a wonderful grandmother, great-grandmother. This is my beloved Anna, my partner, and with Mia. This is Mia's 90th birthday. Just we really enjoyed that celebration. Just always fun. And she always had that look in her eyes, both playful but also challenged. There was always a challenge. It's like she couldn't not ask you a question, And Mia was great at hanging out. So this is her, I'd say, in the late 70s, early 80s, hanging out with John Grinder in Santa Cruz. John was the founder of NLP. This is Mia hanging out with Lev, her grandchild. And I love this picture because it just shows Mia engaged and hanging out and sweet. She'd come and just sit down and always have a great conversation. She was also really comfortable in any environment. This is a ceremony for the new year, and that's Mia lighting the candle. That's in one of the workshops with Leora. And hanging out with friends. This is Yvonne. They had an amazing relationship, and I have to say, and I put in parentheses the husbands, because they were less relevant than just Mia and Yvonne and that connection.
Let me just mention that their son, Miko, is with us here.
Yeah, I think Eitan is here too. Yeah,
Eitan's here too.
their children are here, yeah. And lifelong friend Marilyn, who is also here, I believe. Just she was a people's person. Relationships was what was important for her. And of course, Moshe, who throughout his life until he died, they were really soulmates. It was so beautiful to see them together because the minute they got together, it was all about that concept, that approach, which was wonderful. And I'd say that, she had a genius in with her hands and her understanding of movement and body and stuff like that. But she loved having fun. She loved traveling. She loved having fun and just enjoying every moment. So thank you, Mia, for all of that. I wanted to use this slideshow just to kind of get us in the mood for who Mia was. Okay, so as it says there, thank you, Mia. It's been quite a ride for all of us. And I wonder, Leora, if you want to say anything at this point.
Sorry, it took a minute to unmute there. So I want to welcome everyone. There's so many people here that it's wonderful to see. And yeah, I'm really happy that we can share this and waiting to hear what you have to say too. Very happy to be here with you. That's all. Now the floor is to all of you.
Leora, before we open the floor, we have a few family members who'd like to share things. I prepared a small video that I'd like to share with all of you in honor and memory of dear Mia. So Megan, you got it? Thank you.
Yes, I do. Here we go.
Hello to all. I'm Leon, and I'd like to share with you my personal experience of Mia as mother and as Mia. Mia was a wonderful mother who provided me with experiences and opportunities for which I am forever grateful. She was loving and extremely generous. In fact, I seldom heard the word no, and when I did, it was usually from my father, who was not involved much in my upbringing, but would step in at Mia's request whenever that word had to be delivered. And were it not for Mia, I would never have done judo or acted in Kyogen theater or learned to notice that the top of my head moves when I wiggle my toes. Her enthusiasm for life and openness made our home very special. An Indian guru came to teach me meditation when I was 3 years old. We had members of the London Symphony Orchestra sleep on the floor and play in our living room. And the house was always welcoming to my own friends, who felt free to play music and smoke hashish and dance all night, even when my parents were home. And of course, the people. With Mia as a magnet, my life was a journey of endless meetings with remarkable people. I can see some of you amazing people here right now. I met Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, whom Mia admired and worked with and spoke about, as you know, whenever she could. I met violinist Yehudi Menuhin, basketball star Julius Dr. J. Irving, psychologist Milton Erickson, founder of NLP John Grinder, author Alvin Toffler. The parade of famous people that were attracted to Mia's touch was endless. But more than that, I was truly privileged to meet hundreds of amazing people around the world who were her students, musicians and dancers and doctors and healers and teachers, a global community of beautiful, outstanding, extraordinary people. And there was one specific event that helped me see a different side of this unique woman who was also my mother. You know, during one of the summers in the 70s, when she and Moshe were teaching in San Francisco, Mia arranged for our family to spend the weekend with the amazing therapist Virginia Satir. As you might imagine, there's a lot to say about that weekend of family therapy. But the big learning for me was Virginia insisted that I call my mother Mia and not mom or mommy. It was a brilliant move. It was one which opened my eyes to see Mia for the person she was, beyond the fact that she was my biological mother. So after watching Mia and knowing her for 67 years now, I believe I have insight to some of her superpowers. Obviously, her endless curiosity and her ability to approach every moment and every body she met as if it were the absolute first, truly a child's mind. She looked at every foot as if it was the first foot she had ever seen. She was fascinated by each scoliosis as if she had never seen a spine that wasn't straight. And every complaint about pain was a great opportunity for her to say, "Wonderful, come lie on the floor." And all of this with the charm and the playfulness that would melt every policeman who ever tried to give her a ticket. They all ended up apologizing profusely and sending her off on her way. And because she had this childish innocence and was truly so present in the moment, every moment for Mia was also the most amazing, the most interesting moment I've ever had. You know, every cake was the best she ever tasted. Mia loved chocolate cakes, but in truth, any dessert would make her really happy. And out of that pure childish excitement and endless generosity, she would insist on taking you or anyone she could to taste that particular cake that was best in the world, which often, I gotta say, the second time around, was even for her not the best cake in the world. And here is what I believe was the essence of her gift. She brought this being fully in the moment to each and every encounter with every person. Whether it was a student, a colleague, a friend, a family member, or even a policeman. When Mia was with you, at that moment, you were her center of undivided curiosity and attention. You were the center of the world. More than anything, She loved people, and her focused attention was the way she would give you her love. She made everyone feel special and unique. And this made us all feel special, loved, cared for, and important. And it allowed us also to see ourselves and learn about ourselves in new ways. You know, I believe we all want to do good in the world. We all hope that what we do can make the world a better place. So as I bathe in the amazing outpouring of love from all of you, for which I'm infinitely grateful, and all those who have reached out to the family following Mia's departure, I'm comforted by the knowing that Mia was able to touch and improve the lives of so many. And finally, I have to add that knowing Mia, she's undoubtedly exploring some new place, having herself a great new adventure. Everything is amazing. And along the way, I bet she's tasting lots of chocolate cakes, with each bite, this time, being the best she's ever had. Dear Miale, thank you for everything. I love you. Godspeed. Yeah, so that was part of my experience, and so wonderful to be able to share it with all of you. I would like to now ask family members who want to share. Anna, I think you have something, so please.
I think in the order you have Liv right after you. So
Lev
Liv's,
is not speaking.
oh, okay.
Mhm.
Liv, are you not speaking? You can write in the chat because you're here. Okay. Okay, I was not aware of that. Okay, then it's my turn. I'm after Liv. Hello, everybody. I'm Anna Gatman. I've seen some of you over the years and many of you not, but I've heard stories of so many of you. I didn't think I would be that emotional, but suddenly I'm just here and I'm filled with emotion. I want to share two things with you about my relationship with Mia and my love of Mia. One is she was my accomplice in enjoying life. We loved to share a delicious cup of Earl Grey tea and a yummy cake, and then go shopping for clothes. And as Leon shared, her excitement, her enjoyment of life is something that rubbed off everyone and something that I love to do too. So we shared that, and she was my accomplice, and I loved that about her and spending time with her like that. Just enjoying life and enjoying people's creative expression. And this brings me to the second thing I want to share with you. So, as I was going through Mia's personal things and her secretaire, so her desk, I came across this little card that I found, and I'm sharing it here. It's as big as this, it's really small. And what it is this delicate butterflies that have been cut out. See, it's just a small little card and this delicate paper of butterfly that has been cut out and is like this. And I thought if I only kept one thing from Mia, then this would be the thing that I would keep because it just speaks to, first of all, she loved travel the world, and she and her students would take her to stores and to the unique things and gifts that there are in that country or town, and she'd come back with gifts. And so she'd always come back and shares with us through the gifts her adventures. But this delicate butterfly speaks to her delicacy, to her love of beauty, her love of, Japanese boxes and beautiful aesthetic Japanese things. And I just love you, Mia, for your sensitivity to beauty, the beauty in people, the beauty in the creative expressions of people. And thank you, Mia, for 30, I think 36 or 37 wonderful years together as your daughter-in-law. Blessings on your journey.
Thank you, Anna. You had a great relationship, the two of you. It was wonderful for me and wonderful for just to see the two of you have fun together. So thank you for that. And I'd like to ask John, who's here, John Grinder, to join us. If you can unmute yourself, so that we may.
Unmuted.
Sounds good.
Good. Leon, Anna, Leora, and the other members of the family, you are continuing the excellence of the lineage by what you're doing here today. I was touched by the slide program that you put together, Leon, for us to have some insight into those parts of Mia's life that we couldn't participate or didn't participate in directly. It's beautiful what you've done. Anna, your sensitivity to the relationship that you shared with this woman, amazing. Leora, I see you there. Haven't spoken to you for a while, but it's a pleasure to see you. I'm going to limit myself to what I have, a couple of things here. I want to tell a story, first of all. What made her a genius? As some of you know, neurolinguistic programming is not a therapy. It's a lot of things that it's called, but it's not that. It is the searching out and the replication of genius. It's the ability to recognize people who are so exquisitely advanced in what they do that they set this wonderful high bar and initiative for the rest of us to imitate and to replicate and to even possibly advance. She was truly, I have had the good fortune in my life to have access to multiple geniuses, some of them mentioned in the foregoing. But among the very, very top of that experience, of which I've been, for me, it's been the delight of my life, was Mia. She was, as has been said by various speakers before me, she had a childlike curiosity. She had an ability to be completely in the moment, and each experience was the first for her and the very best for her. And that's a gift which seems to have passed on beautifully to members of the family. And I hope to many of you from various parts of the world who had the good fortune, as I did, to work with her and to appreciate the brilliance that she was. I ask myself, as a person who's dedicated my life to the study of genius and attempting to replicate its genius in a form that's transferable to other people, what was it besides these things I've just mentioned by you all? What was it that made her so brilliant, made her able to approach things which other people found very difficult and find joy and find solutions that other people were unable to find at the time? And I'm biased in this by my own studies of Bateson and Erickson and Satir and all the lovely people you've mentioned before. But as far as I'm concerned, it was her ability to calibrate. And by calibration, I mean she recognized that while human language is a remarkable thing, and it is the connection that many people spend a lot of time developing, If you watch and listen and touch and feel, and you focus your attention on what people are actually doing, you're calibrating. You're noticing what state they're in, how they shift from one state to another, how they incorporate and make excellent the state of the people they're connected to. You've heard this from members of the family already, and I'm sure that each one of you could point out an example. The example I'm going to offer in support of this proposal is a piece of work that Mia and I did together with several other people. It was a modeling seminar. Modeling, as I'm sure most of you know, is the ability to identify, in the way it's done by me and in NLP, the ability to identify the genius parts, the people that we encounter, the people who seem to lead the field, whatever field it's in, and it can be any field from dance to medicine, to a ability to contact and make very, very beautiful relationships with little children. It applies to any domain of importance to human beings. She was a genius. No one can doubt that who's had the experience of her. And what was it that she did? What was the key to her genius in all of these domains that she found herself up? She was one of the three people that were models who we could practice with, who were, in my opinion, absolute geniuses. In order to make the point about calibration, about halfway through the seminar, I selected a couple of well-trained and competent people who I had worked with before. I gave them a simple task: go out into the street outside of the conference center in Monterey and take the seventh person